Jim Carrey, I believe last night at the Caesar Awards in France, making his big debut back into the spotlight. I'm going to play it for you in a second, but I put, who is this? Because it is definitely not Jim Carrey. The eyes aren't even the same color. They don't even care anymore.
You did recently share that you're ready to take a break from acting. Can you elaborate on that comment? Are we really not going to get any more Jim Carrey roles?
I gotta get out of here before I slap someone. Seriously.
I was sickened. I was sickened by the standing ovation. I felt like Hollywood is just spineless, en masse. And it really felt like, oh, this is a really clear indication that we're not the cool club anymore.
There is no Illuminati. It's just a joke. It's just something that crazy people talk about. There's no such thing as our side and God's side.
I have enough. I've done enough. I am enough.
What if Hollywood isn't just about fame, but control? Katt Williams warned years ago about powerful figures manipulating the industry. Now, fans are asking the same question about Jim Carrey. From Oscars interviews to mysterious changes in France, the actor who once revealed the system might not even be the same person we see today. Did he step away? Or did Hollywood step in? Tonight, we break down the rumors, the sightings, and the chilling theory that Hollywood protects its image at any cost. The last time people laughed at Katt Williams, he was on stage talking about powerful figures and warning that Sean Diddy Combs would eventually face consequences for things the industry chose to ignore. About a year later, raids happened. Serious claims showed up in legal reports, and suddenly his words didn't seem so wild anymore. So now, when those same rumors start pointing toward Jim Carrey, people start paying attention. After speaking out about the industry many times, he steps away for a while. But then, things take a strange turn. He shows up again in France, looking different, his face fuller, his vibe unfamiliar, and fans even claim his eyes look different. Now, the same internet that once laughed at Katt's theories is questioning if Jim Carrey, the man who tried to reveal how things work behind the scenes, has somehow been replaced, while the industry continues to profit from his name. If Katt was right before, people are now wondering what it means that he's talking about hidden deals, powerful figures, and an industry that can still make money even after destroying its own stars. At the same time, fans are asking a serious question. Is the Jim Carrey we're seeing now really the same person? For years, Jim Carrey was loved by Hollywood. But everything changed after one interview at the Oscars. Sitting with Gayle King, he didn't hold back. He openly said he felt uncomfortable seeing the crowd applaud Will Smith after the slap incident, and then made a bold statement saying Hollywood, as a whole, lacked courage. That wasn't a safe or polished response. It was someone directly criticizing his own industry on a global stage.
I was sickened. I was sickened by the standing ovation. I felt like Hollywood is just spineless, en masse. And it really felt like, oh, this is a really clear indication that we're not the cool club anymore.
There was some question today about if anyone else had walked from the audience and done that, they would have been escorted out by security or maybe even arrested. The police asked Chris if he wanted to file charges. They asked Chris, do you want to file charges? And Chris apparently said no, he did not.
He doesn't want the hassle. I'd announced this morning that I was suing Will for $200 million because that video is going to be there forever. It's going to be ubiquitous. You know, that insult is going to last a very long time. If you want to yell from the audience and disapprove or show a disapproval or say something on Twitter or whatever, you do not have the right to walk up on stage and smack somebody in the face because they said words.
No, I agree. I think we all agree on that. I just thought, Jim, that it escalated to that. You know what I mean? That it escalated to that level.
It didn't escalate. It came out of nowhere because Will has something going on inside him that's frustrated, and I wish him the best. I really do. I don't have anything against Will Smith. He's done great things. But that was not a good moment. It cast a pall over everybody's shining moment last night. You know, a lot of people worked really hard to get to that place and to have their moment in the sun and to get their award for the really hard work they did. And it is no mean feat to go through all the stuff you have to go through when you're nominated for an Oscar. It's a gauntlet of devotion that you have to do. And it was just a selfish moment to cast a pall over the whole thing.
And it didn't stop there. On Jimmy Kimmel Live, he walked out repeatedly, flashing a triangle sign, sticking his tongue out, almost like he was mocking something deeper. Jimmy Kimmel joked about it, asking if it was some kind of gang sign. Jim looked right at him and replied like he already knew the answer, then started naming other late-night hosts, hinting they were all part of something they wouldn't admit. The crowd laughed, but the mood shifted. For a moment, it didn't feel like a joke. It felt like he was exposing something behind the scenes.
Is that a gang sign? Have you,
Oh, like you don't know what it is. You don't know what that is.
I have no idea.
You don't know. Jimmy Fallon doesn't know. David Letterman doesn't know.
We don't know.
All the comics and show business don't know what this is. Right? Yeah.
What is it?
Come on, Jimmy. Seriously, the time is up. People are hip to this kind of stuff. I'm here tonight to blow the lid off it, to be the whistleblower. I'm sick and tired of the secrets and the lies. It is the secret symbol of the Illuminati, and you're a part of it, and it is the all-mocking tongue.
Oh, I like it. You can use a
It's
scraping.
the symbol of the all-mocking tongue, and I'm sick of it. I want everybody to be in on the joke, man. You know what I mean? For years now, talk show hosts, people on television, people in sitcoms have been hired by the government to throw you off the track, to distract you, to make you laugh and stuff like that, make you happy and docile so you don't know what's really going on. You know, and they get out there in the woods in a circle naked and they decide these things and, you know, and you know, look at him trying to come it out. It's hilarious.
After that, his interviews became more direct. Instead of softening his tone, he became even more honest. He talked about how he had spent years playing along with the system. He called red carpet events pointless and brushed off fancy gatherings that others treat as major achievements. Underneath the humor, there was a serious message. He no longer needed approval from anyone.
No, I'm doing just fine. I just, you know, there's no meaning to any of this. So I wanted to find the most meaningless thing that I could come to and join, and here I am.
They're
I
celebrating.
mean, you got to admit it's completely meaningless.
Well, they say they're celebrating icons inside.
Celebrating
Do you believe in
icons, boy, that is just the absolute lowest aiming, you know, possibility that we could come up with. It's like icons. What do you believe in icons? I don't believe in personalities. I don't believe that you exist, but there is a wonderful fragrance in the air.
You don't believe certain icons have the power to make change, to think differently, to be bold, to inspire others? Artistry? You're one of them.
On the good foot. Ha! Yeah. You shut it down now. Yeah, no, I don't believe in icons. I don't believe in personalities. I believe that peace lies beyond personality, beyond invention and disguise, beyond the red S that you wear on your chest that makes bullets bounce off. I believe that it's deeper than that. I believe we're a field of energy dancing for itself. And I don't care.
Then he took things even further. In another clip, he spoke about Hollywood in power, saying it doesn't come from awards or applause, but from controlling what people believe. He explained that the industry shapes reality itself, guiding what the public accepts as truth. If anyone else said that, it might sound like a wild theory. But coming from Jim Carrey, the same actor who starred in The Truman Show about a man living in a fake world, it felt much more serious, almost personal. When you put everything together, it stops looking like random comments and starts to feel like someone questioning the entire system. He wasn't just joking anymore. He was saying that celebrities people admire may not be as genuine as they seem, that media figures might know more than they admit, and that the stories coming out of Hollywood are carefully controlled. For an industry built on image and silence, that kind of talk isn't just uncomfortable, it's risky. Someone at his level telling millions of people not to trust the system could create real problems. And that's when things started to feel strange. After speaking so openly criticizing, questioning, and rejecting the spotlight, he didn't just disappear quietly. Instead, he came back. But something felt off. When he appeared in France for an award ceremony, it was supposed to be a proud moment, standing ovation, big recognition. But online, people weren't focused on the award. They were focused on him. Side-by-side comparisons started spreading everywhere. On one side, the energetic 90s Jim Carrey expressive face, lively eyes, full of energy. On the other, the recent version, slower movements, a heavier look, smoother skin under the lights, and a fixed smile that didn't seem to reach his eyes. His voice sounded calmer, less lively. That unpredictable spark people knew felt almost gone. People paused videos and started saying what many were thinking. This doesn't even look like the same person.
Jim Carrey, I believe last night at the Caesar Awards in France, making his big debut back into the spotlight. I'm gonna play it for you in a second, but I put, who is this? Because it is definitely not Jim Carrey. The eyes aren't even the same color. They don't even care anymore. So there are several things wrong with this, but the first thing I want to point out is the eye color. Jim Carrey has brown eyes, but these eyes are hazel. Let me blow it up some more, and then I'm going to show you the comparison, and then we have some more to get into. Take notice, of course, of the eye color, but the nose, the skin, it's like no pores. Could it be a filter? Sure. Or, compression? Sure. But that doesn't usually happen. I mean, there are no pores on this face. To me and a lot of people, this is a mask, a skin mask. But we have more details to go over with this because this is insane. All right, so this is the comparison of their eyes. As you can see clearly, two different eye colors, right? But let's zoom in some more. Let's zoom in some more. So this is Jim Carrey, right? And you can see the way the eyebrows sit, how he has somewhat of a monolid. It's not quite a monolid, not quite a double lid. It's kind of in between. But then you just see, okay? Just look at the facial structure. Now let's move this up. What is this? What is happening? Look at the lids. Look at the lids of the eye. Look at the eye color, the eye shape, the eyebrows. So they put all this makeup on him, which you can see the makeup, but they didn't fill in his eyebrows? Huh? So his eyebrows are now gray, but his hair is still brown? Look at the skin. There's no pores on this thing.
Then people zoom in even more. In older interviews, his eyes look very dark, almost black, depending on the lighting. But in newer close-ups, fans claim they notice hazel or even green tones, like the whole look has changed. Screenshots get taken, circles drawn, side-by-side comparisons everywhere. Some people say it's just aging, lighting, or camera quality. Others argue you can change features like your nose or jaw. But if the eyes feel different, then something deeper has changed. For them, that small difference is what makes everything feel off, like something isn't right.
They would go this far to do the mask. Why wouldn't they put in contacts? I personally believe that this is the age of disclosure, which they have said. This is the age of disclosure. They want us to know. They want us asking questions. They want us to panic, and they are trying to normalize it, or they're trying to gauge how many people are awake and have the eyes to see these things. Because even with this, there's people in the comments like, no, that's just a little Botox, and he just got older and his eyes turned hazel.
And this all comes after Jim Carrey himself talked about losing his sense of identity. In interviews, he admitted he feels like he's fading into the version of himself that people expect to see. He even said the Jim Carrey everyone knows doesn't feel like the real him anymore. So when fans see a version of him that looks similar but feels different, same face, different energy, they start connecting the dots. The man who said he was losing himself seems to disappear. And in his place is someone who looks the same but doesn't carry the same presence.
Don't get me wrong, Jim Carrey is a great character, and I was lucky to get the part. But I don't think of that as me anymore.
You don't? Not at all?
Not really, no. I used to be a guy who was experiencing the world, and now I feel like the world and the universe experiencing a guy.
I think we got a little taste of that just a moment ago, yeah.
Yeah.
And does the beard have anything to do with that?
Well, here's the thing. The beard, yes. Everywhere I go, people talk about the beard. They go, what are you doing? Why are you growing a beard? Why are you growing a beard? It's like they can't really think about anything else. It's just not, cohesive. There's something different about me, and it's that damn beard. And wherever I show up, it becomes the story,
Right.
It's a bigger star than me at this point.
Mm-hmm. And is that good?
It has its own Twitter.
It does?
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah. Thank God it likes me.
Maybe it'll be president one day,
Exactly. Well,
That's the first step.
Now, right? But yeah, it's just weird. And I always say it's the question is not why are you growing a beard? The question is why am I growing a beard and still shaving my balls? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
No,
you're right. It really
doesn't.
It
doesn't make any sense at all. I think it's like a balance thing, It's like, if I'm shaved down and then I got to do this, So if I ever shave my face again, you'll know. There's a full beard somewhere.
Well, you look great. I think it looks good. It looks good on you.
For some people, this is just entertaining gossip. But for those who remember Katt Williams saying that nothing in this industry happens by accident, it feels much deeper. They start asking, what if this isn't just an actor changing, but something being replaced while everything looks the same on the surface? At a certain point, Jim Carrey stopped acting like a typical celebrity. He wasn't chasing big roles or awards anymore. Instead, he spoke about losing his ego, how fame doesn't really matter, spending time alone, and focusing on spirituality. Interviews and articles show how he moved toward painting, isolation, and deeper beliefs, saying things like he doesn't even feel like he exists, and treating Jim Carrey as just a character he once played. That's not how someone talks when they want more fame or success. That sounds like someone who has already seen through it all. So when he openly says he's retiring and that he'd only come back if something truly meaningful pulled him back, fans don't hear it as a joke. They hear it as a clear decision, like he's choosing a completely different path away from Hollywood.
Retiring, but
no.
Yeah, probably.
Are you being serious or are you screwing with me?
I'm being fairly serious. Yeah.
Really? Why?
It depends. It depends if the Angels bring some sort of script that's, written in gold ink that says to me that it's going to be really important for people to see. I might continue down the road, but I'm taking a break. Yeah.
Then he makes it very clear. He's done. No hints, no maybe later, just a direct statement that he has enough and isn't interested in continuing.
I have enough. I've done enough. I am enough.
This is where a pattern people talk about starts to show up. Many believe the industry has a history of turning people into warnings the moment they stop following the expected path. Dave Chappelle walked away from a massive deal and was labeled unstable. Katt Williams spoke about powerful figures and suddenly became the joke instead of being taken seriously. Shia LaBeouf opened up about personal struggles and faith, but the focus stayed on his controversies. The pattern people point to is simple. Step outside the system, and your image gets reshaped into a warning for others. Katt has said for years that nothing happening to celebrities is random. The rise, the fall, the scandals. It all seems timed. According to that view, once your public image becomes more valuable than your real self, the system will protect the image at any cost.
I'm saying that everything that happens in a business that's based off of pretend, that seems like a setup, is.
Everything that happens in a business, that's based off of pretend, that seems like a setup, is.
Yes. What I'm saying is, if Jussie Smollett and Lee Daniels for a living make stories that are not real, and they make them so good that people believe them and buy them, and that's what business they're in, why would you think it would be weird if they flipped out and said a story that turned out to not be true?
Why? Why would we think that? If they are capable of doing that for a living?
That's what they do for a living. They do that 300 episodes, is take something fictitious and make it seem real. That's the business.
Mel Gibson shared a similar idea from his own experience. He once explained that in this industry, there's an unspoken rule. You will be used or betrayed at some point, but you're not allowed to react publicly if you want to survive in it. That's the deal. Give up your boundaries and your anger, and in return, you stay part of the system.
Somebody once said my problem was I didn't understand the social contract. Yeah, I now understand what that means.
Yeah.
Do you understand it?
The social contract?
Yeah.
I think I do.
Yeah. What is it for you?
the social contract. You can't get mad. You can't get mad. You can't let it get you, because you have to make a deal with everyone else, and it's almost unspoken that you are going to be fucked over at some point by people who you may have done something nice for. And it may happen that by circumstance, or even very purposefully, that you fuck someone over. But that shouldn't get in the way of you being able to sit down and have fun with them. Am I on the right track? You can't build a resentment about it. You have to still try and love those people.
Yeah.
Because that's the way they're thinking.
Because it ain't personal.
No, it's not personal. They don't really mean to hurt you.
No.
Not really. I don't quite understand. Well, I mean, there's a lot of motivations for why it happens. Yes, many.
I mean, money will make you do stuff as well, won't it? I mean,
Yes.
one, them, us,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah, well, whoever.
If there's many millions riding on a decision, it's hard to be philosophical.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very hard. Very hard to be, you you have to choose what level of integrity you're coming in at. And
Okay.
And I've often felt it. I've sat there and I have felt the knife slipped firmly in between my shoulder blades and tried to have it shoved through the other side through my heart. And I've actually felt the whole thing and I've gone, ah! Wait till next week, or I'll think, fucking, and you'll resent it for a little while, then you have to let it go. Otherwise, you'll eat yourself alive.
Now, look at Jim Carrey from that perspective. He's no longer promoting the image. Instead, he's challenging it, calling out the audience, questioning the importance of shows and awards, and pointing out how media shapes perception. At the same time, he's quietly moving toward a more spiritual life instead of chasing another big movie.
I'm telling you, kids, don't come to Hollywood. I'm serious.
Your camera's there.
Is that me?
Jim, what about for you? I mean, you had it, on such a grand scale. All of a sudden, you were the biggest movie star in the world, and your paychecks and all of it were public. And I imagine getting out of a car, it was being swarmed with
And
people.
90% myth as well. So that's a tough thing to deal with.
What does that feel like?
People
What does it
create your life.
Yeah?
They take elements that are true and they put it in an article so the article looks legit, and yet there's so much of the article that isn't true. So that's something to kind of teach you that, hey, you know what? In order to go forward, I have to let go of what this creation is. And I ultimately found that even the me I created wasn't real, so that left me in an odd, precarious situation. And I've been writing and creating about that for a very long time.
And that's where it becomes a direct break from the system people like Mel Gibson and Katt Williams talk about. He's not just stepping away, he's openly talking about how everything works. Not just leaving the script, but reading it out loud for everyone to hear.
In business, nothing is coincidental, or you would be hearing who's losing money. In all of these situations, it's only the artist that's losing. Somebody makes big money. When these rappers get killed, not incidental. Somebody made $100 million and now don't have to talk to that artist or none of their crew, don't have to validate none of their contracts. Now only got to deal with the mama, only got to see her once a year, and it's over. And the money goes up and up and up. So they killed this $20 million guy, but they reaped $60 million in benefits.
Wow.
And they had some people from your city do it.
This is where the theory takes a real-life tragedy and turns it into the darkest part of the story. Catriona White's overdose and the wrongful death lawsuits involving Jim Carrey were real. The claims included issues like prescriptions under different names, emotional treatment, and responsibility for her passing. The situation was heavily covered in the media, then later faded away without a final courtroom decision, no conviction, no clear verdict. Even so, it left a mark on his reputation and created ongoing pressure around him. Some fans believe this wasn't just a scandal, but something that gave powerful people leverage. According to that idea, once the headlines and legal cases existed, it gave certain individuals the power to corner him and force a choice one he could never speak about publicly.
Jim Carrey was once about peace, meditation, and disclosure. This interview is why he was murdered and replaced. They gave him a choice of going to prison for his girlfriend's overdose. Shoot, you're gonna trigger me. Everyone hated when I made that video. Oh, I almost got canceled for it, but you know, when I make a video, I stand down. Anyways, he chose cloning. So they're trying to say here, because there was a suspicious death of Jim Carrey's ex-girlfriend, I'm sure you guys are gonna go watch that after this because that video is insane, and then maybe you'll be mad at me, maybe you won't be. But this person's kind of like alluding to the idea that like Jim was either going to go to prison or get replaced because of this crime.
From here, the replacement theory becomes less about appearance and more about intent. People argue that if you have a major star who no longer values fame, openly talks about deeper topics like purpose and identity, has past controversies that could damage him at any time, and continues to criticize the industry, then what happens next? Some fans believe the answer is simple. Separate the person from the brand. Let the legal issues fade. Allow the real individual to step back quietly and keep the public image alive, whether that means a controlled version of him, a stand-in, or someone bound by agreements they can't talk about. These are the ideas being discussed.
In 2017, there were a bunch of conspiracies going around. We've actually spoken about these before in a video about Jim because there was a point where the public was convinced that Jim Carrey knew too much about the Illuminati and Hollywood, and he was starting to say some things that were pissing off really important people. That is why Jim Carrey back in 2017 kind of stepped away from show business.
That's why this theory grabs so much attention. It's not just about looking different, it suggests a bigger pattern. The idea is that Hollywood removes or reshapes anyone who refuses to follow the expected role. In this case, people believe Jim Carrey tried to move towards something more meaningful, while still carrying the weight of a past controversy. So it leaves people with uncomfortable questions. In a system that some believe controls its image so tightly, what's more useful, letting someone walk away freely or keeping their name active while the person behind it steps out of the spotlight? And if voices like Katt Williams and Mel Gibson are even partly right about how the industry works, then how can anyone really tell the difference between someone who stepped away on their own and a version of them that's still being presented to the world? From legal battles to public appearances, everything around Jim Carrey sparks questions. Fans notice small changes the way he moves, his expressions, even the color of his eyes. Combine that with his open criticisms of Hollywood, and it starts to look less like coincidence. Katt Williams and Mel Gibson have long hinted, step outside the system, and the system reshapes you. Some believe that's exactly what happened here. Jim Carrey chose a different path, spirituality, truth, and stepping away from fame, but the public image keeps going. So the big question remains, is the person we see now the real Jim Carrey, or just a version carefully maintained by the industry? In Hollywood, nothing is ever as it seems, and some secrets are hidden in plain sight. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And until then, stay real.